What's up, good people? Welcome back to Four Titles, One Truth. It's your boy Tommie here.
It's Tommie. And I'm Lance. And today we're talking about what happens when a people are stripped of their roots, but still create a culture that shapes the entire world.
Yeah. Nothing to add.
Yeah. What
Let's
can you
get
say?
into it.
Do you think the black culture we see today was born more out of the survival or resistance, or was it a mix of both?
I think it's a mixture of both.
Yeah.
It was out of survival because they did everything they could to strip Africa out of our mind. So the culture was eventually erased after a couple of generations because we weren't allowed to read. We weren't allowed to group. We were basically in prison, and then we worked in the yard. And so the African culture that came with us is strictly in our DNA. All right, and then when you talk about resistance, I think as a human reaction, because nobody should be held as a slave for any other human race. First
You
off,
said it, a prisoner. I mean, nobody
Yeah.
should be held captive.
yeah, and without committing your only crime being because in their mind they've convinced the world that the black race was ignorant, like animals, couldn't be couldn't be trusted to be human, and definitely not worth
Yeah, I
respecting.
mean, less than. I mean,
Yeah.
that they were a race of less than that didn't deserve to be on the same pedestal
Yeah,
as.
and the sad truth is
Somebody
there's
else.
plenty of people who still believe that.
Yeah.
Then with all that together, resisting, and then also having that fire and that fight inside of us in our DNA, I think those two together is what's made black culture, specifically if you look at like the 70s, because if before the 70s and the late 60s, black people were imitating white people. When it came to the way they dressed, when it came to when you got a little money, you tried to be an aristocrat, stuff like that. But then when we hit the 60s and the black movement, you started to see the creativity of the black mind, not just being in what they would call the ghetto, but taking over main America. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because look at Shaft. Stuff like that.
I mean, I think that's when they were really, truly. I don't want to say allowed to, but it was
when they took.
because you got the Harlem Renaissance that happened back in 1920s, 1920, 1940, where that's where you had a lot of the literary and some of the music and stuff. Them starting getting that piece out, but it wasn't. I don't think that it got as prevalent until you started getting some more of the movements and stuff going on. Then you got the media also putting it out there.
Absolutely.
So but yeah, I absolutely agree that it really started being a mainstream thing and not just situated in a part of the country.
Right.
Yeah.
100%. Because, like you said, the Harlem Renaissance, I didn't mean to make it sound like that wasn't powerful, but it's just like you said, it was very centrally located.
Yeah. I mean, it was specific. To a certain area for the most part, where everybody wasn't able to attain, some of the
education,
the literature, the music, they weren't able to
the understanding
to really
of what
understand
you're doing.
it.
No, I'm with you. But like you said, when it came to the 60s and 70s, the late 60s and the 70s specifically, black people started growing their afros out, and I'm not, like you said, not just a portion of the country. You had the Black Panthers, you had Martin Luther King,
That's
you had
when all of the movements. I mean, that's when it was like we demanded
And James
Yeah,
Brown
we
had that
want, we
song.
demanded
We
those
black and we proud.
rights. Yeah,
Absolutely.
you know, I mean, those rights were like that. Those are God-given rights
Yeah.
that we all deserve to have
Yeah.
and should be treated as
And I think
with
that's
and as
when
such.
I think that's when I think that's when the separation that we have in this country and in the world between blacks and specifically whites, I think that's when the rest of the world and the United States started to see that we're more than what they thought.
Mm-hmm.
They still didn't give us the respect that we needed, because remember in the 70s we were still having firsts, segregated schools getting torn away and all that stuff. So it was not like it was easy for us, but I think that's when, I guess I'd say specifically, you saw it take over white culture and become U.S. culture. Right. Because in the 70s, everybody dressed how the black people were dressed. Everybody had them bell bottoms.
It's like it is that we saw with us growing up and like watching our kids, where you see that the younger white kids, I mean, they're
yes.
listening to the music, and
yes.
I mean, and it's the same thing in the 60s and 70s where those kids started listening to
the music,
the rock and roll and the R&B, and all of that stuff. And so, I mean, that's.
Yep, I agree with you wholeheartedly. And we started, them 60s and 70s, boy, the late 70s.
I mean, that music is still relevant today, boy.
What? And just how strong the black, I won't call them all leaders because they didn't all want to be leaders, but the voices.
Well, it's the pride, it's that sense of pride, because it's like.
And it was a chip on our shoulder, for the first time in a long time. All right, so when African heritage was stripped away, what do you believe still survived across generations? And we're talking about in music, faith, food, or community practices.
I think that's all of them right there. I think that's what really survived out of it, because we had to. I mean, we and I'd say our ancestors. Yeah. They built a culture. I'd say a subculture out of because they were already here in America. Yes. They weren't with their same. Family and groups and villages and tribes and stuff. So, and they weren't allowed to be like that because they were afraid of the communication and being able to, start an uprising and all the other stuff. But so they had to things like the food, but the food that's always that's always regional. I mean, that's how we cook. But the drums, the music, the storytelling, the faith piece. I mean, and I think that grew out of just people persevering out of it being in a bad situation and just like, okay,
looking for
we're gonna get through it. Something to keep them moving. So, I mean, I think all of those things are relevant that was started and focused on, and it's something that we have. I won't say taught, but not really, where it's like you see it in the text. It's just something that you learn, where it's like you get a situation, you see it and say, okay, how can I deal with it? How do I need to deal with this? How do I act in this? How can I make this better? I mean, and you just do it.
Because it's just amazing. I agree with you 100%, but just to add, you can take me from Ohio, you can take Nikki from Georgia, because Audra's from Ohio as well, you from St. Louis, and we can go all the way out to the West Coast. We can go all the way up to New York, right? There are so many similarities, and we have never met, our families have never met, but there's so much, like the way we're reared by our parents. I mean,
I think it's those core...
That DNA,
that core beliefs, core cultural things that are just spread across, regardless of where you are, where you come from. Yeah. That's just the.
I agree, and that's the thing that gets me is that I don't think a lot of people understand. They understand like they understand the cover of a book, the title of a book, but they don't understand what that book's about. When you tell people that we were completely separated from where we came from, so we don't have the ability to know what tribe we belong to in Africa.
Nope.
Right? There are DNA improvements that are happening, but even if they go in our DNA, there's still no connection to it.
I mean,
it meant in our mind. Yeah. So
I mean, because you see Irish Americans and Italian Americans. I mean, and they can go. I mean, and they have ancestors that are even still back in those countries. Relatives.
They
and
go
things
back
like that.
to the town.
Yeah, can go back. Yeah, so
great,
it's like
great grandfathers from.
Yeah, I mean, we're not
we can
able
go to
to
a
do
continent.
that. Yeah, we can go back to a continent, back to an area, a region.
Yep.
Because a lot of stuff, when you look at a lot of our DNA, unless you're some folks that are fortunate enough where it stayed
from Africa.
Yeah, I mean, where you can see where it's like 99% or 90%. Because I had a friend whose family's from Israel, and his DNA, he's like 99%. So it ain't no doubt. Yeah, and they still got family over in Israel. So I mean, it's like ain't no doubt. Where for us it's like.
We have no idea.
Okay, I got 20% of this one. I got 11% of here, and and it's all in the same region, but it's not
it don't mean
direct. It's just all from this country.
Not a tribe, not a spot. It's just like you said. And the sad part is when you have a darker tint, people just say you're from Africa. You know what I'm saying? The way we speak. The only thing we get recognized for is you're from Georgia. You're from the Midwest. You're from
your dialect.
Yeah, we have we have no connection to that, and that's what I was saying. The most frustrating thing is I don't think that enough people understand how uniquely horrible it was for you to be. Just imagine you are taken from your ancestral spot and then cut. You know what I'm saying? Once you left the continent of Africa as a slave, you weren't going back. You know what I'm saying? And so the only thing you had to learn is what could be passed on by the first set of slaves, right? And then, like you said, you can't talk about it. You can't they wanted you to take on their way of living. And so eventually you stop talking about it.
Yep.
And just like now, and this is for every race, in your family, there's usually only one or two people that are actually tracking, your grandparents or your great grandparents and stuff like that, verbal or the photo book, albums. There's only like one or two people out of your family, your current family, that's even tracking that. And so if nobody else takes interest to that, then it may get passed down or it may not.
Right.
And so just the detachment is just what's so frustrating. And then just to go on to the music, you already talked about the rhythm of our music. And then not just the rhythm of our music, we'll say R&B and blues and jazz, right? But just to think about, we've taken the white popular songs and we've taken those and made those even better.
Bigger hits than what they were.
Luther Vandross is the perfect one.
Whitney Houston.
Yeah, Whitney. Yeah. So that's there. And then the food. Imagine building a culture off of scraps.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And the reason our food is so seasoned is because we had to try to make it taste good. You know what I'm saying? And that has carried on, which is amazing in itself. And then you talk about faith. Faith is a little rocky for me because we were forced to become Christians, or Catholics or all that, because that wasn't the religion that our ancestors were part of, because Christianity didn't begin in Africa. It was, but it was definitely, they were aware of
it
what was
wasn't
going
in the
on.
area where they took
Right,
the slaves
right,
from. It was
right.
more so on that
Yeah,
eastern part
across
of
the ocean. Yeah, and so, so we don't. We've taken on the religion, right, and then we've added spice. We've added energy to that. You
with
know what I'm
the
saying?
music, the song, the
Yeah,
way that it's
yeah. The way it's
preached.
preached.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the way
man.
it's preached here. So
So, and then community practices. I think that's the. I don't know because I haven't researched enough, but I would say that a basic black family now, like you were saying before, if you could interpret it, probably would have the same core uh, family's values that our ancestors had, because that's the only way
right.
we believed in pop. We believed
Yeah, I
in
mean, it's the. I mean, we're talking about, and everything that you mentioned is the cookout.
yeah,
I mean, when you start
yeah,
thinking about I mean, everybody
yeah,
comes together. Everybody
yeah,
brings
yeah,
something. Everybody's eating,
yeah,
listening to music,
yeah,
playing
yeah.
games, just
Having
having a
fun,
yeah,
having a
just
ball. And you know what's even funnier is that when it starts to get late, uh, the parents start talking about their kids could dance, and then you got to get up out your bed as a kid and go downstairs and show the family and the friends that you could
in your
dance,
pajamas.
doing the daggone Jackson 5. And so anyway,
Shoot.
that's just. But it's just funny how it spreads like that.
Yeah. So black culture
Hmm.
often sets the trend, but rarely owns the profit. Why do you
Yeah.
think our culture gets celebrated, copied, and commodified, yet black people still face systemic barriers?
It's because of the systemic barriers, man. It's once again, there are people in this world, in this country today, that still won't recognize that something is from the black culture. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? And when that's not recognized, that allows a lot of people to take advantage of it.
Right.
It's the perfect example is baseball, right? Baseball was America's sport, okay? And it was all white for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then they had an idea to bring a couple of black people into it. Why do you think that was? Why do you think they made a decision to bring black people in? Do you think it was because they wanted to make a profound statement and change the world?
No,
They wanted to win
yeah, they want
baseball
to win
games,
games. I
right?
mean, because they had the Negro League that was
Absolutely.
sitting
Absolutely.
great players.
Yeah, and so that became a way out for black people, but when they would bring the Jackie Robinsons over, they would say that what is this? They're not playing baseball. Yeah, they're playing it better than
Yeah.
everybody else, and so it's just amazing at how our culture is copied and celebrated, like you were saying about the music, about the kids around no matter what race they are, being familiar with, songs that make them move and feel
Yeah.
differently. You know what I'm saying? And then even perfect another example is gangster rap. You know what I'm saying? Gangster rap started in the West Coast, and when it started, we were in the high school time frame, right?
Yeah.
When gangster rap started,
The late 80s.
it wasn't accepted in Ohio
Mm-mm.
because it wasn't our life. You know what I'm
Mm-mm.
saying? And then Ice Cube sort of made it out, and then Too Short made it out to Ohio, and then NWA blew up. That's when it started to take on, because it was a different style of black music, right?
Right.
And so you got white kids listening to gangster music. White kids that would never, even black kids in a regular ghetto, back then didn't have access to what that
all
gang life
too.
was. Yeah, you know, and so
you can't relate to it that way. You can't relate to the lyrics.
No. I mean, even the black kids couldn't. You know, Ohio had no idea what was going on in California. We had our own little problems, you know, and so. But just the fact that it's copied so much, and you can. We talked about fashion. We talk about music. We talk about food. We talk about just the way people act and carry themselves, swagger that's out there. But it's not. They just won't acknowledge that what it is.
Yeah.
Now they chalk it up as American culture. You know, because I remember when
they pick and choose what they want because it's like we're part of American culture just because you can see just because we've been afforded, you know, the opportunity to travel abroad and see things. I mean, so certain things when you live in America, it's like, nah, Jack, that ain't right. You know, so I mean, we're part of. I mean, we're all have American culture.
Yeah.
And then you have this, you know, what's really focused in on, you know, on black culture, you know, things that your race or your area, wherever you are, I mean, that okay, this is unique to these folks and stuff. But then you got folks that want to pick and choose, like, ooh, we can take that piece out, but not
that. Yeah, that's that. Still too black. Yeah. But
what's acceptable and what's not acceptable.
Yeah. For them
what they feel,
to bring over to right. Yeah, I agree with that. But you know what's funny is that when we travel, like when we just got back from France, right, and Spain, we got in a cab. Nikki and I, we got in a cab from the airport when we flew into Madrid. Barcelona, and the cab driver kept looking for like an R&B type
station.
Music station to make us feel comfortable. You know what I'm saying?
They do that here. I took a Uber, a Lyft from the dealership the other day. When I got in the car, he was playing country music.
What was he, white?
No, he was. I think he was Hispanic.
Okay,
he's a Hispanic guy. Playing country music. I got in the car.
All of a sudden,
it changed. I was like, okay, I can do that, you know. And it was. I think he felt it was something he felt more because he was just talking, running his mouth, you know, just.
Yeah, his last driver probably liked the country, or his last passenger.
Well, just trying to, you know,
adapt. Yeah, make you feel
to whatever,
comfortable.
Make folks feel.
Yeah, but and the fact that we still face systemic barriers is just. It's just laughable to me. The fact that there's still like KKK type of mindset towards black people,
and why that's acceptable, and why don't more folks rise up against it?
And why doesn't the government do something about it? They're quick to squash anything else, any other races, elite, aggressive,
questioning what's going on, or calling folks rule breakers and things like that. And it's like, but
this
you're allowing other folks to do
for centuries. Yeah. So, for you personally, as little Lance, when did you first realize that the way you talk, dress, or carry yourself wasn't just you, but a part of a bigger cultural identity?
You know, as kids, you don't really. I mean, I don't want to say you don't see race, but you don't really. It doesn't
Depends
hit you
on where
like
you are. Because I was in a all-white school when I was a kid. So
you saw me, yeah. So I grew up in a black neighborhood. Yeah. Grew up.
Me too.
Went to school with predominantly black kids. So I never was like. It was never one of those. I mean, I knew it was there just because seeing, where my father worked, it was predominantly white. Mm-hmm. So you could, I knew it was a difference, but as far as me being really seeing it or it affected me, it was probably by the time I got into
high school.
Yeah, high school, man. I mean, just because it was like, but I was aware of it. Uh-huh. I wasn't naive to go in and thinking, everything. But me actually being verbally accosted by it, being like somebody calling me, and so.
So,
But yeah, I mean, so around that.
when did you realize that the way you carried yourself and the way that you dressed and the way that your family was, as a family, was different than white America?
I mean, I knew that just from probably that was elementary school.
What was
just going over to people's
your
homes,
white friend's house?
Yeah, just seeing how they some of them spoke to their
parents, all out.
what type of
punishment.
Not even just a punishment, like chores and things like that. Or you washing dishes, dusting. I mean, you doing all of that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, some of those things.
Yeah.
It just.
Yeah.
I knew that
there was a difference.
Yeah, I absolutely knew it was a difference. And then because like I said, I wasn't naive to anything. My parents spoke to me about it.
Right. Right.
But to me, because I had white folks in I have white folks in my family.
Oh, in your family.
Whereas it was like, and we would. That was mine. That was mine. That was my. That's my cousin. That's my. So it wasn't one of those things where I was like, that's the devil. They bad people.
Yeah.
Because the people that I knew and grew up with and treated me like
a person.
Yeah, like my family did. Like my family did.
Yeah.
So it wasn't they called me out when I was wrong. They did. And it wasn't one of those things where I felt like I was being mistreated in that sense, because I think that we all know when somebody's talking down to us.
You feel it.
When it's like,
even if you're not aware of what it is, you feel it.
Yeah, when it's not warranted.
You
so so I mean that was probably, I mean, I'd known that, I mean, I guess start paying attention to it in elementary, middle school. I knew.
Not really paying attention to it, but you're aware of it.
Yeah, aware of it. Yeah. Really start paying attention to it when I got into high school, when I started, the sports, and we're going to different schools and stuff. And that's an all white high school in an area where they not very friendly to folks that are my skin tone. So I mean, so you start knowing it, and then when I went to college,
right. Yeah.
I mean that
on black.
Yeah, that sealed the deal. I mean, that sealed the deal just because it was more information, more education. More information, more education, more pride, more. I mean, just all of that just comes in where it starts to be a little, where you get a little hyper focused on it, which is not a bad thing when you're young. When you're younger and you're learning, you're trying to see, but you really start paying attention and seeing, okay, that's wrong. That's because sometimes people are able to hide some of the little sneaky stuff and appropriate your. Talk about cultural appropriation.
We'll
taking some of the stuff in there, being your buddy, with stuff. But but yeah, how about you?
So,
especially in the situation where you grew up, it's because you were in a black neighborhood, but you went to a
white school and an all-white church. Yeah. So, first off, I want to say that there's so many similarities, period, being an American, right? To where we all can look back and share some type of similar experience, right?
Yeah, I mean,
because you have to admit there's a difference. There's a difference between the races, right? And the thing that was just so obvious to me is because I went to raised in a black home, black neighborhood, black, but went to from kindergarten to 6th grade was in an all-white Christian school with just 2 people. My sister and I were the only regular black people. And then the church, if it wasn't Sunday school, we were 3% was black, so it was very, very low. But the thing that I noticed quickly, as far as my memory goes back, is that I was the cool guy and I was the athlete. You know what I'm saying? And that's not because I was that. It was that was because that was the expectation of me because I was the black kid. Oh, 100%. And like people were either drawn to me because of that or, call me the N-word because of that. So it was a roller coaster every day, but it wasn't something that I was so aware of that it really affected me at that moment. But when looking back, you can highlight some things that put a chip on your shoulder. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you're not when you're that young like that. You don't know that. You're
your
not
mind's
expected
not
to know
formed
that.
enough.
Yeah, you're not mature enough to understand all of that like that,
Yeah.
like you do now.
Yeah. But the main thing is, you remember when Michael Jackson did Billie Jean for the Motown? I think it was the 25th. I think it was 85.
It was
or
85?
something. Yeah. So when Michael Jackson did that, of course, everybody in the country was up late watching it. The moment I stepped into school that next day,
moonwalk.
Everybody was asking me if I could moonwalk. Everybody's asking me if I could moonwalk. And I loved watching Michael do it, and we imitated it that night and was doing it. But I had no clue that the next morning I was going to be the subject matter expert.
On moonwalking.
on moonwalking and Michael Jackson dancing. So that was the first time because like I said, we practiced it and I knew how to do it. I wasn't nowhere near Michael Jackson level, but I understood the concept of it. So when I went to school and I had on my boat shoes,
your penny loafers. No,
your boat shoes.
Your boat shoes
with the leather laces.
Ooh.
No, but I had that on.
I had slick bottom too,
exactly.
So
didn't have no traction problem, so I was able to moonwalk. But it was just a feeling of like, once again, I wasn't mature enough to really get into it. But it was just like everybody, and this is me years later. Everybody just knew I knew how to moonwalk. Yeah, that was it was weird. And then I always got picked first in sports. I always had friends around me, so it was during those years that I started to understand. And then once I got older, I had to understand, are these white people liking me because of me or because I'm black? You know what I'm saying? And that's when my friends, that's when I started to realize who my friends were and who they weren't. And I'm not being racist at all. I'm just saying, like, some people just want to be around you because they think that's the cool thing, or you can bring them some swag,
That's the end
swag,
thing.
yeah.
Yep.
And that's pretty amazing. But that was funny that everybody thought I could moonwalk. And it kept going, like when Rob Bass, It Takes Two. Dude. Yeah, all that stuff coming up. Everybody expected me to be able to rap. That was the first.
Straight high school. Right?
Yeah, that's the first, I think, sort of like pop, hip hop song that everybody was feeling because, nobody was listening. The world wasn't listening to Eric B. or Rakim, Run DMC, the people started to listen to. But when Rob Bass and DJ Easy Rock came out with It Takes Two, the jokers
played that at our football games. I remember that.
Yeah, but it was just pretty funny.
All right. All right, Michael. What aspects of black culture are most misunderstood by people outside the community, even while being imitated?
So I'm going to pull something that doesn't get talked about a lot until this cop brutality stuff started happening and people started to see that there's a difference. But I don't think a lot of people understand that black fathers specifically have to prepare their kids 4 things in life that
What's those interactions?
that's
a
other
true
people
thing.
don't have to do it, man. And that's the
That's
thing.
the truth because I don't mean to cut you off. Yeah,
No,
but that's a true thing because I remember my father before I went to school
yeah, sat
driving.
you down.
Yeah, before I
Yeah,
driving to school from Illinois to Washington D.C.
yeah,
giving the rundown,
yeah,
and
man.
we did the same thing
Yeah,
with both our
you're,
kids,
yeah.
but specifically with
Mild,
Miles
yeah,
whenever he was driving
yeah,
up to Lubbock
yeah,
because of all of the
yeah,
little bitty
yeah.
towns going up through there and stuff. So I mean that
And
was
I don't,
stress, and it didn't
yeah,
stop until he
got,
graduated.
yeah.
But every time that he
You had to go. You
go,
nervous
and
as
every
heck.
time that he was coming home,
Yeah.
he got the same
See, and that's what I don't
talk.
think. I don't
So
think people outside of the race understand how fearful black parents are when their kids leave the nest, because you are so scared that the stuff that you went through
right.
is going to happen to them, and they're raised differently than you.
And I think that that's the key thing too, Tommy, is that some folks haven't been, might be black and might not have grown up in
You're
the
right.
same environment, the same.
As
And,
we have,
and
yeah.
granted, I don't think either one of us grew up in super
Yeah.
violent or real bad, but we were
Yeah.
middle. I mean, we're middle class,
Yeah.
which is.
Yeah.
But
We weren't poor, we weren't
no, we
rich.
weren't poor, but yeah, what?
If
Yeah,
that's the
by
middle,
no
then
means,
that's what
yeah.
we were.
But I don't. Yeah, people don't understand. Unless you, a lot of times, unless you have gone through that also,
Yeah,
where it's
yeah.
happening to you, where you're like, what in the hell is
Yeah.
going? And it happens to us at a young age.
And it happens so regularly that, like, when, you know what I'm saying? Like, the first time I told my dad, or my sister told my dad, that we were called monkeys. You know what I'm saying?
I remember you talking about that.
And so that's when my dad, we were young. We were in, I think, 4th, 5th, somewhere around there, grade 3rd, 4th, 5th grade. But that's when Dad and Mom had a conversation with us, and because for the longest, we knew we were black. We knew our home was different. We knew our family, our neighborhood, our house, our car. We knew all that was different. Because I had white friends, when I'd go spend the night at their house, they'd have to turn down their blankets. And I used to be like, what in the world is that? That blew my mind. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, you make your bed and get in the bed, so it was just there's a difference, and especially the way your parents talk to you, the way you talk back, like you said. But once that incident happened, that's when Dad just really started having, like, conversations with us, like, letting us know that, yes, you're different, and you're different, but there's people out there that hate you. They don't even know you, but they hate you because of where you come from.
Especially because your dad came up from Alabama.
From Alabama, yep.
So,
Yes.
so I'm sure that he
saw and
heard all of that stuff.
Yeah.
My father came up from
Mississippi. Yeah.
So they absolutely. I mean, that's why we ended up in Illinois, because my grandparents were getting away from the Jim Crow down there to try to give their kids a better
chance.
better way of life.
And so that's my biggest thing. I don't think that enough people understand the fear that black parents have with their kids being abused because of them being black.
Yep.
And then on top of that, I don't think that enough people really understand how horrible it can be even today. I mean, it pops up on TikTok and on Instagram and all that stuff, but there's people that think, oh, well, that's just a random. It happens so much more than you think. Like, I was driving, and I'm gonna have to tell you something. If it wasn't for meds, it wasn't for doctors and Nikki, I probably wouldn't be sitting on this couch, because I have a temper, right? And that stuff has been squashed or whatever. But you you know when you're driving, you know when people how they look at you when they look over. You know what I'm saying? There's people that look at you and you're just a person, no big deal, and then they go back. Then there's people that look at you and they're like, why is this
with
black
disgust, look at you
son
with
of a gun driving this BMW? Yeah, who do you think you are? You know, and that is not made up. You know what I'm saying? I wish people could understand there are people out there that hate black people. You can see now that there's people out there that hate immigrants, that hate Mexicans, that hate any other color that ain't theirs, and that's just amazing to me. So that's the cultural thing for me. What about you?
um,
I know I talked a lot. Yeah.
I mean, that's. I mean, yeah. I really don't have anything else to add to that. I mean, what you were saying, because it's all the same. And, you know, it's all the same. It's all relevant as far as the situations, the things we see, the
things we deal with.
I mean, that's just.
And just like, you know, your average white person that is dressed like a white person and acts like people think white people act will never understand when you're walking to your car and there's like 3 white women on your path and you have to literally sit back and watch their reaction, and you're like, it's hilarious, but it's also scary to where you'll see one older white woman start walking faster. You'll see one older white woman or white woman get in a car and lock their door.
Yeah, I mean, that's. I mean, I could see it, especially you being a bigger guy. I mean, and that's where we learned to. We speak to folk before they're all the way over there at the thing. It's like, hey, how you doing?
Yep.
Good evening.
Yep.
You know, so I mean, so we initiate a lot of the. Look, I ain't here for you. Don't don't have your
attention.
people.
Go on about your day, because I'm going about mine.
Exactly.
And so that's another thing my dad taught me is just self-humiliation. You know what I'm saying? And it's not. He taught me that being bigger, if you want to start conversations, be in the conversations, if you want to lower the intensity of a situation, let people know that you don't take yourself too seriously, and let people know that you're not the big angry black guy. And that's something my dad literally talked to me about when I started to, it was once I was in the military, and it's not me not being proud of who I am. It's me understanding that my job as a leader in the military is to communicate. And if I can't open lanes of communication with people because they're scared of me, because they're racist, because they're jealous, whatever you want to call, then how effective can I be as a leader?
Well, you're not going to be
exactly.
able to,
And so you have to know in what situations how you need to act to get the message through.
Right.
But that doesn't mean you change who you are and forget who your core is. Stephen A. Smith. But anyway, I'm sorry, but I had to say that. That dude is really, really upsetting me.
Yeah.
But that's a whole nother topic. Go ahead.
No, that's
All right.
You're right.
So what's the difference to you between honoring black culture and the word we talked about earlier, appropriating it?
Well,
and where do we and should everybody draw the line?
Well, it should. I mean, if I guess the thing is, when you're profiting off of some, an idea that's not yours,
and not
and
admitting
anything else, it's against the law. It's not right, and you'll get prosecuted for it. But we have been, when I say we, I'm talking about our ancestors also, were promised land.
40 acres and a mule.
Yeah, we were promised land back then.
And
that
every other race has
got
gotten
given
it
and
but
taken
us.
from us, and then everything else, all of the different inventors and things like that that have invented a lot of things that
But
we're
the
just
white
understand.
person,
Yeah, we're just understanding now. When I say now in 2025, on some aspects, some things that
which
was
the
invented by,
president is still trying to
to
erase.
suppress. Yeah,
Yeah,
not put out the truth. So I mean,
yeah,
it's like just give credit where credit is due.
that's it.
Uh, uh,
And
compensate.
pay for
Yeah,
it.
compensate
Yeah,
folks for
yeah,
what they bring
yeah,
to the table.
yeah.
You know, so it's like you can't just steal.
Keep stealing.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, steal people's
Speaking of
ideas.
culture, that is something they have.
So I mean, so yeah,
Yeah,
to me, it's
yeah,
you can't raise it up
yeah.
and then take it and say, oh,
It's mine.
it's mine. I
Yeah,
did this, and I'm gonna
yeah,
sell it back to you
yeah,
for whatever, or promote it to you back
yeah,
as this. You know, just
yeah.
to
And then the worst case is it's something that a black person, male, female, ancestor, or current, you come up with this great idea, and then you say, you know what, I have the business mind, I have the cash and backing and the capability to produce this, and you produce it, and now all of a sudden it's doing okay, but it's not taking off. And then all of a sudden, this big hawk comes in and takes the idea, changes it just enough to get past copyright stuff, and now all of a sudden, they're making millions off of it, but won't for a second say, we got it from this, or hey, let me pay you a little something, but we're going to take this
some
higher.
royalties,
Yes,
for the idea,
yeah.
or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just, and I'm gonna go a little lower. I'm gonna talk about, if black people are doing something, and white people want to do it too, that's fine. I don't care. Even though the saggy pants is the history of that has nothing to do with cool.
No.
But yeah. But anyway, if that's what y'all want to do, that's fine. But don't act like y'all didn't get that from us.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Don't come down here and pretend to be us, and then once you go through your little phase, now all of a sudden you're back where the family wanted you in the first place, and you act like, that was stupid or whatever. It's just appropriation to me is, like you said, is when you take something that isn't yours and then you collect on it and make money off of it without acknowledging that it was never yours to begin with. Just because you had an idea about that doesn't mean that it's yours. It just means that you improved on an idea.
Right.
But that don't mean you need to crap on
the
everybody
originator
else.
of it.
Yeah. So just admit it. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. Big booties. Just admit that y'all want one because you see black women with the big booties. Just admit that.
Or the plump lips.
Yeah, just admit that.
The hair extensions. I mean, it's a whole lot of stuff.
I mean, that's if that's what y'all want to do, that somebody's gonna love you and like you. And
everybody going to this tan.
Yeah, you go and spend thousands of dollars to lay in a booth to get as brown as you possibly can, close to our color, but then you want to act like you're better than us. But you're trying to imitate and emulate us. That's where the appropriation becomes a problem. You know what I'm saying? Just admit, if it's American culture, then it's American culture,
right?
And it's gained because black culture is added into the American culture. Because don't act like. Never mind. I ain't even gonna. I'm gonna stay calm. All right. Look, it's simple. Hear what I'm saying. Black culture wasn't just created in the struggle. It thrived in spite of it.
Yeah,
Hear what I'm saying. And that's what makes it so powerful today.
Yep. I mean, it was really It was born out of a necessity.
Absolutely.
It was born out of a necessity, and it has turned into the heartbeat of America. Whether some want to admit it or not. I mean, that's just it's a
what
huge part of it.
Yeah.
When it's going global.
Yes.
It's global. When we're seeing French kids running around and the graffiti and rapping and doing
graffiti,
Spanish
the
kids,
way to wear their clothes.
Yeah, British kids. I mean, English kids. So I mean, it is everywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Chinese, Asian kids. I mean,
that's
just
what I was going to say earlier, man. I went to Korea. In 1993, 94. It was my first time in Korea. As a soldier, I was in 2ID Wijambu. Right. Then I go again in 2002, 2003. Now let me tell you something. I was down in Busan.
Mm-hmm.
The change from South Korea from the 93, 94 to 2002, 2003 was amazing. What I mean by that is when I was there in 93, 94, it was all kids were in school clothes. They all had matching uniforms. Everybody had black hair. Everybody had basically the same sort of haircuts. There weren't women drivers. It was, everything was, you could basically say cookie cutter, right? I come back in 2002, 2003, you see blonde hair, you see FUBU, you see hip hop dancing, you see the beginning of the South Korean sort of music vibe and the imitating of the black culture and the R&B culture and the dress and all of that. That was so amazing to me to see. That was 10 years, man, give or take. And to see that change and to see the black influence, even though at that time, and this is something I significantly remember, all of the billboards and all of the, well, I'll just say this, all of the billboards were white faces, no matter what, right? It was either white or Asian, no black faces. And on top of that, that the culture, which is still there and it's all over the world, the lighter your skin is, the more you are, you're less of a utilitarian, right? So for instance, if you had darker skin tones there, it was a identifier of you being a laborer. You know what I'm saying? Outside, working, farming, or what have you. And the lighter your skin is, the more acceptable you are in the higher culture, right? And it's same in blacks, but anyway. And most of all of the melanated people, there's that back and forth. But to see that change and then know that the black influence, especially hip hop, hit that culture so hard, it's just like you're like proud and you're like, this is, y'all don't see this, but there's still people that just won't acknowledge it. But it's just a reminder.
Yeah.
Power without ownership leaves us vulnerable. Respect and authenticity matters. Why can't I say that? Yeah. Respect and authenticity matters. Thank you for joining us for this episode of 4 Titles, 1 Truth.
Now we ask you, do you believe black culture is the most influential culture in America, maybe even the world? Why or why not?
My answer is yes. Why? It's obvious. And don't forget to check in with us on all social media platforms. Oh yeah, visit our Facebook page.
Yep.
And if you didn't know, on our social media pages for our 4 Titles, 1 Truth, there are differences. We post things sometimes that we don't share on other platforms, our personal platforms, because we want to draw people to our thing, to our channels.
Yep,
and
please.
Don't forget, you can watch us on YouTube, on our YouTube channel at 4 Titles, 1 Truth.
That's right. So make sure you join us next time.
Why?
So we can keep the conversation going.
There it is.
All right. Y'all come on back. All right.